Hello, TBPO panel, and welcome to my TED Talk. Just kidding.
I present to you, not necessary, not qualified. Reject the Hawksbill conservation proposal.
In his documentary and fact sheet, Mr. Harvey presents a conservation plan for the endangered Hawksbill sea turtle, Eretmachilles imbricata. He hopes to tag and track female turtles in order to locate their nesting sites, but I assert that the committee should reject this conservation proposal. In the following video, I'll present the 3 primary grounds for dismissal. I'll start broad with reason number 1, the choice of species. The Hawksbill in particular does not need funding from us. Second, Mr. Harvey does not prove that his proposed tagging method is the optimal conservation approach. And lastly, the plan has not been sufficiently prepared. First, a quick overview of this sea turtle. The Hawksbill can be found in tropical regions of the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. They forage for sponges and algae in coastal waters, and females return to their birthplace for nesting. Hawksbills undertake long-distance migratory patterns between their foraging and nesting sites, which complicates conservation efforts. As indicated in the proposal, the Hawksbill sea turtle is indeed threatened by marine pollution, fishing bycatch, and environmental degradation of beaches and oceans. However, the proposal does not address the fact that hunting is a central threat to Hawksbill populations. Though recent punitive legislation has curtailed the degree of hunting, illegal poaching remains a threat due to a market for tortoise shells. Furthermore, though the proposal indicates various common oceanic pollutants, it fails to assess the impacts of specific contaminants such as chromium compounds that threaten sea turtles. Now, let's get right to it. Of the many species that the TBPO panel could select, the Hawksbill is the wrong choice because they do not need your support. There are countless organizations that have been protecting hawksbills for years. Given their extensive experience, these NGOs already have established optimal methodologies for efficiently tagging and tracking turtles. For instance, one group alone has coordinated 21 sea turtle projects in 19 countries and developed effective database management software. The bottom line is that hawksbills already have many highly qualified groups dedicated to their protection. Secondly, Mr. Harvey does not prove that he has selected the proper conservation method. There are many promising methods to save the hawksbill, including expanding protective legislation against tortoiseshell trade, regulating fishing areas to minimize hawksbill bycatch, and starting hatchery projects. To highlight one key example, 2 hawksbill hatcheries produced more than 23,000 live hawksbills over 8 years. Given the success of such alternative conservation methods, a truly sound proposal should prove why the tagging and tracking plan is in fact the most efficient use of grant money, but Mr. Harvey's proposal fails to do so. Lastly, this proposal is impractical on the grounds of an unrealistic timeline and budget. The project aims to capture and tag 650 turtles in 2 months. This is not feasible. For comparison, a separate project tagged an average of 323 turtles per year. Furthermore, estimates of the number of nesting females in all of the proposed region of Indonesia from the year of 2008 ranged from 500 to 800 in total. It is illogical, therefore, to presume that nearly every female would be located and tagged in just 2 months. Lastly, the budget contains some fatal flaws. Marine animal tracker and system costs range from 2 to 7,000 euros per animal.
Taking a central estimate of 4,300 euros, this ends up with a $1.1 million deficit for Mr. Harvey's plan.
Secondly, the project intends to pay crew members 500 euros per month, which amounts to approximately 3.1 euros per hour. Regardless of the minimum wage in Indonesia, it is unethical to exploit local labor in this manner.
As displayed in this table, the total deficit amounts to an approximate 1.12 million euros. Although, given the aforementioned timeline concerns, reaching the goal of 650 turtles would likely take far longer than 2 months, which further increases the budget.
It is not the case that the hawksbill deserves to be ignored and left to flounder. In fact, as Mr. Harvey asserts, humanity has harmed this beautiful creature and should therefore protect it. However, this logic can be applied to every precious threatened species. To summarize, I implore you, the grant money must go to a species that needs our help, whereas the hawksbill has the help of countless qualified teams. In the proposal you select, there should be no doubt that the suggested conservation plan is the best available option. And lastly, the proposal must have a comprehensive timeline and budget. This Hawksbill conservation plan simply does not meet these essential criteria. Thank you for your time and consideration.